Hi everyone, it's Hans here, the founder of Cappuccino, and welcome back for Series 3 of Flat Whites and Insights, sponsored by SPA Advisory. We're here for some open, honest and vulnerable conversations held over a beautiful cup of coffee, and they're coming from my home, so I'll be providing the flat whites, and my guests, they'll be providing the insights. So grab a coffee for yourselves, take a moment, and I hope you enjoy this latest conversation. Thank you, take care, and enjoy.
Lucy, hi.
Hi.
Thanks for coming over.
Yeah, it's good to be on.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining me here as well. So we've known each other for a while, and it's through Restore, the charity that I'm sure people who watch this or follow Cappuccino will be aware of, because it's who I've kind of been supporting.
Yeah, and funny enough, you probably know Restore for a longer period of time than I do.
Yeah, so I was fundraising for them before you were around, so yeah. But yeah, and there's a load of great people there, and but yourself, I guess we've been quite close in terms of the fundraising I've done.
Yeah, I know you've done various fundraisers from kind of cycling to strictly Brackley. And
yeah, cycling, dancing, running, coffee. There's been a few.
There has been a few.
But it's been good, and that's since, because 2019 was when I started supporting them, and I think it was a couple of years after that you joined. But
yes, joined in 2021.
2021, yeah. So, but before we start, if you're alright to give a brief introduction, kind of yourself, what you do, and who you are.
Perfect. So yeah, I'm Lucy, as you know, and I work at Restore, the Oxfordshire-based mental health charity, and I've been with the charity kind of coming up to 4 years. So it's everything kind of, we support about 500 people every year towards recovery from mental ill health.
Yeah.
And we do that in kind of three main ways. So we have recovery groups where we support people sort of through therapeutic activities, whether it's kind of woodwork, arts and crafts. We've got 2 allotment sites where people sort of engage in horticulture activities, and then also cafes where people sort of develop hospitality and catering skills. So it's all kind of developing confidence, sort of developing new skills, and then kind of making those steps back into kind of your community or purposeful activity or whatever your goal might be. As you know, and then we also have a kind of coaching program. So we help people with their sort of CVs and interview practice, and again, it's kind of helping people with that next step. So we know some people kind of, their next step might be volunteering, others might be training, and some people might want to get back into work after a crisis, or might not have started work yet due to kind of whatever reason, and then we kind of help them to kind of build those skills, kind of get back into that kind of purposeful activity.
Amazing.
So that's a little bit about Restore. There's a lot more that goes on.
Definitely, and like the mental health first aid training as well, something like, I know Julie, who was with us there chatting back recently, and Julie delivered the training for myself and my colleagues at Barks and Bucks when I was there. And she was just great, like her energy. Amazing.
The training's incredible. I know that Mental Health First Aid England, I think they've trained over 1 million people now with mental health first aid, which is brilliant. I mean, I think everyone should be trained. And I think we should all get refreshed kind of every year, just because the language is kind of forever changing.
It's amazing. And I mean, you've touched on a few things there. I mean, obviously my relationship started with Restore 2019, so I think it was a half marathon was the first thing that I did. That was when, because the half marathon, so October 2019 that would have been, and I started Cappuccino in Feb 2019. So that was when I kind of started to look and find a local place to support. Restore appealed to me. At the time I was working for Cancer Research UK, so I kind of was aware of charities and kind of how it went about, but what I liked about Restore is that it's kind of it's a bit of a smaller charity, a bit more like quite localised to Oxfordshire. Cancer Research, there were elements of it. It's a big it's a massive organisation. So
I think it's a leading cancer charity, isn't it?
It is. So it was massive, and something appealed to me about Restore being like that local. Because obviously there's mine, and obviously they do great work, and Calm and loads of charities in the area. But something nice about the fact as well that when I kind of started supporting, it was like, the CEO gave me a welcome. Leslie, I know that she's now moved on, and Libby is now our CEO. But just everyone I've interacted with was amazing. So I guess that's why, 5 years later, I'm still doing a range of activities to support them. But
yeah, and kind of as you mentioned, I think Restore is quite different in that it's kind of completely embedded in the community. And it does feel completely like supportive. So yeah, I mean, people tend to stay with us for kind of 2 years, and then they kind of go on this program of recovery. So it's quite different to a crisis service or something like that, which is extremely important. But we're that kind of longer term kind of support system for people.
Which is nice, yeah, I could see in the back, and it must be so rewarding, like working there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of why I decided to work there.
That was a question I was going to ask. What kind of drew you to Restore? Because I know we were just talking before we hit record. It was your first kind of job out of uni, out of education.
Yeah, exactly. So I went to uni obviously for 3 years, and then I finished. Well, I was finishing during when the pandemic hit. So that kind of shifted things. So my dissertation and my final exams were then online because it all happened in March. I was due to finish in kind of April time. And it was then I was like, oh, what do I want to do? And I was thinking I want to kind of work in a charity or something that's doing good, giving back, that kind of thing. And I looked online on a charity job, and there was just nothing. Like I think it was the time everyone was getting furloughed. Everyone was.
I was working for a charity at that time. So, I think 70% of CRUK got furloughed. Like nationally, our team, we were supporter engagement. So quite similar to what you're doing now in terms of kind of the fundraising side of things. So the job changed. I mean, we kept on, but it changed from helping people with their fundraising, whether they're doing like a bake sale or a run or putting on their own events, and it changed very quickly from that to making calls to people, asking them if they're still happy to hear from us from phone, or like the role changed, and that was kind of around the time that it shifted, and unfortunately it was through no control of the team, it was just the environment and the world changed. But it was a shame because the team, we had such a good energy and loved hearing from supporters, and we were still making a difference, but the energy just changed, and we obviously all went to working from home, and we'd had quite a good team. And
it was so uncertain because no one even knew what furlough meant at the beginning.
Yeah, that's so true actually. It's a word that we all now speak about as if it's all just
it's probably now in the dictionary or something, isn't it? Probably. But it was a case of it was so uncertain.
Tough time to come out job hunting for your first job.
Yeah, I mean, tough for everyone, but it was tough because I kind of looked online and, for example, even like a factory job, there was 100 applicants, and I thought, God, that can't be normal. And I suppose they were the only sorts of like jobs and industries that was able to sort of stay alive because they had to. And then I just thought, oh, I need to switch this slightly. What should I do? And I ended up sort of volunteering for 4 different organisations just to kind of fill my week, and then hopefully kind of build up my CV and work out what I wanted to do when life sort of reopened. One of which was Restore. Which worked out really nicely because I kind of was able to kind of meet the team, do kind of social media, the communication side of things, learn about the charity, and then kind of fast forward 6 months later, I was able to sort of apply for a job. They knew me, and it kind of all just sort of was quite seamless. So.
Amazing. And the fact you were willing to volunteer there shows that you are someone who genuinely cares about the cause and genuinely wants to kind of make a difference. You're not like, I think anyone who works in that field, especially mental health that works charity, that is the case.
For sure. I mean, I think I can say this, a lot of people at Restore have lived experience, and I think that's what makes the charity work so well, because you've got so many people who are kind of experts by experience.
And therefore with supporters as well. People, I mean, myself, I was drawn to raise money and to raise awareness for the cause because of my own experience. And I think, like I say, it's nice when everyone kind of just gets it. If you know what I mean? Because there's people, much less so now, and maybe it's just because of my circles and because I've spoken about it more. And so, but when I first experienced my struggles with mental health, it was like, well, it's that cliche of like you feel like alone, you feel like no one gets it.
Completely.
But knowing, I guess, there's an environment where there's people who, and everyone's got their own unique experience, but kind of least understand the kind of feelings you might be feeling.
But I think as soon as you can start to talk to someone about your experience, whether you've had a different experience, similar experience, it's suddenly you just feel less alone, don't you? And you just sort of know there is that community, and there's people. And actually, life isn't sunshine and roses, and I think,
of course,
that's kind of.
And I think that's a really important thing, though, isn't it? Like in terms of, I know sometimes everyone says, social media is a highlight reel and stuff, and again, like I try it very much so. try to if I'm having a bit of a bad day, so often posting something. Well, it's to be real, but it's more like it helps myself. Like I've said before, like I don't journal, but to me it feels it's like a digital journal.
Yeah,
it's a way of me getting it out of my head and getting it open, and it doesn't matter who reads it, it doesn't matter who sees it. Similar to this podcast when I first started. And if in 2019 someone had said, oh yeah, you're going to start a podcast, I probably wouldn't have started the whole thing, because I'd have been like, no, not a chance.
Yeah,
like,
just out of your depth sort of
yeah,
thing.
I started an Instagram page anonymously because I didn't want to put my face to it, I didn't want to put my name to it. I was worried about, what old colleagues or mates would think.
Yeah.
And it was only then, as I got more confident in it, and then did 1 or 2 posts about, well, why is this guy in cafes all the time during the week? Does he not have a job?
Yeah.
And because I was signed off at the time, I had like 6 months signed off.
Okay.
And then it was during that time I started Cappuccino. And that's
when
why
was that? 2019?
2019, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so back then that would have been when I had, that period signed off. I think 2017 was when I had my first kind of lived experience, should we say, when I was doing my PhD and burnt out. So I was only 22 at the time.
Yeah.
Which feels a long time ago now. But that experience and starting the page and everything, then I just got a bit of traction, and then
it's growing
organically from there. But to think, if I'd have thought I'd be talking with my face and naming a thing and talking on camera, being quite open to people, like I wouldn't have thought I could do it, and now I can. So, and it's amazing that a lot of people who've been on, this is the first time they've done a podcast. I know, like yourself. So I've had a few people, but I love that it's, and anyone who comes on in, I want to create a space hopefully that people is comfortable for people, and that's why I do it. I mean, it's like a conversation, and it's cool. Like I say, it doesn't matter how many people listen or share it. For me, the hour or so, or however long the conversation is, that's when I get the most out of it. But I can imagine as well, there's obviously not a lot of them recorded, but a lot of conversations or experiences that you have, like in a charity like Restore, that are quite powerful as well. When you kind of seeing someone come into the service and then
definitely.
a year or so.
I mean, I was going to touch on when you said about the fact that you kind of didn't put your face to it initially, and now you're kind of talking about men's mental health in general, opening the conversation.
Yeah.
I feel like you're very genuine and honest on social media, which is incredible, and I think it's so easy just to kind of put up your holiday photos, and I'm definitely one of those people that's easy just to kind of post the highlights. And then you start scrolling and you're like, oh gosh, this person's doing that, and it's so easy to kind of compare. But it's such a snippet of people's lives.
It is, but I think that's, as long as I think you're using social media, understanding that, and I think it's okay. And I think when you're in a good headspace, that's amazing. And especially like seeing friends' holiday photos, that's great. And I can imagine there's times when some people, and it is a problem, I guess, with being so genuine, is sometimes people maybe think, oh, here he goes again, or whatever. But I'm like, fine, you don't have to follow me.
It's your platform, exactly.
It's my platform.
And ultimately, you want the people there who are going to support you and actually unfollow.
Exactly. You don't have to follow me. But at the same time, it's nice that I have had a few messages from people. Sometimes people from that I went to school with or worked with before, and they like knew me before I'd kind of been open about it. And to be honest, at times when even I didn't know myself. And so for them to like say, oh, I really appreciate you talking about it. And they're the nice things when it's a message from someone, or like, say for example, when I left this job just recently, because I'm kind of between jobs now, so extended Christmas break, which is all fallen into place nicely. It all just kind of worked out. But like a few colleagues in some of the comments on me leaving, like they weren't, oh, we're gonna miss the work you did, it's the miss you being around and stuff. Like a couple of them I won't share on here, but they're the things that mean a lot to me, because I think it's
that human connection.
The human connection, and it's how the value you add to a place and how people like remember you. And if that comes from being honest, because I'm similar I think because people know I don't, obviously it's quite public, I don't hide it, so it's not something that maybe colleagues speak directly to me about all the time, but sometimes if someone felt like they needed someone to speak to, it was almost like they didn't have to ask permission with me. It's like,
you're almost
I know that I'm an open but like vulnerable, so particularly in the role I did where I was kind of onboarding people, like that was quite nice, I think.
I think you're good at kind of holding that space for people and almost inviting the conversation in without actually saying anything.
I think it's actions rather than words sometimes.
Body language can be huge as well.
And that's something from my own experience and from kind of my experience of therapy and understanding from mental health first aid training. So shout out Julie.
Go Restore.
Go Restore. Go Julie. It's understanding that, being open, and I'm very aware of, I think, how people are.
Yeah.
Like, it comes from a childhood where maybe or experiences where it's, depending on what mood someone's in, do I open up that conversation, do I not? So it comes from struggles, but the real positive of it now is like, I'm very aware of people's energy. So if someone comes in, I could probably within 10 minutes tell if you're having a good or a bad day.
That's good, that's impressive.
Like, not like, well, some people are more closed off than others, and obviously that's not me saying I know, because obviously you never know what someone's going through.
No.
But if I know someone, I can tell if they're not themselves. Maybe that's a better way of putting it.
Yeah, but also if you're good at kind of knowing what to say, open the right conversation, knowing how to kind of take someone off to a certain space,
to have that conversation in front of them.
Exactly. I think it's just kind of knowing those just even like 3 key things can really help someone to open up.
I think that's why I say that, why everyone should do that training, because it's not necessarily for the crisis moments, it's things like that where someone then really remembers that or appreciates it or feels seen
and creates trust, which is important.
So it's so rewarding. Like, I love like the work obviously they're doing at the store. So you've been there, is it like how long?
So coming up to 4 years.
One of them is serving in that team, surely.
I've
seen a few faces come and go during the time.
There has been a couple, but within the team I am. We're now a team of 3 directly, but we're part of kind of the wider income and engagement team. So ultimately raising awareness about Restore and mental health in the community, as well as trying to sort of generate
Put 2 words together there.
generate income, just so that ultimately we can keep doing what we're doing and help more people. Because although I was kind of reading about it earlier, Oxfordshire's one of the kind of most affluent county, but actually the disparity is huge. And therefore I think depression is still rising or something along those lines, which is interesting because there's just such a disparity from kind of the academics to
Oxford, there's a lot of disparity, but then often maybe in those environments, I mean, I experienced my crisis moment in academia, in an academic environment, and I think because the pressure's high, that wasn't in Oxford, I can imagine it's even harder in Oxford.
And I think
there was recently that story of I don't know the name and I don't want to go too much into it, but someone who was basically, a girl said that had a bad experience with him, and then he ended up, like, friends ostracised him a little bit and he ended up taking his life. And there's more stories in Oxfordshire. I mean, I'm involved in local football. There's Jack Badger, who I will talk about because I know people who know him, never knew him myself, but that's where, like, it's sad it's still happening, but there definitely seems to be more awareness growing, and particularly on local football clubs. And I'm not going to blow my own trumpet too much, but I feel I've been quite a part of that and getting that off the ground at least.
And even with Restore, you kind of helped us create that partnership with Didcot Town FC, which has been brilliant.
Definitely. And Milton are doing stuff as well. The Milton manager's been on the podcast, Christian. He started a running club, mental health running club. They all climbed up Penny Fan.
Oh, did they? That's good.
On Sunday, while I was pottering around the Christmas markets in Bath, so fair play to them. Maybe next year. They were climbing mountains, but about 15, 20 of them. A lot of them from Milton Football Club, also just around the corner.
That's
I know Abingdon are doing a lot.
That related to Jack Badger? Or?
They've done it annually for a while. I think so Christian and a couple of others have done it, but it's definitely grown momentum wise. And so it's it's good to see the conversation. It's a shame it still has to happen, but it's not even those negative moments. It's just particularly in a football environment, I can understand why people might not want to be open, or they might feel like they can't bring it in.
Completely. I mean, even we recently had a chat and bat event with Monty, which he did a Q&A as well.
And I'm going to say this, sorry Monty, I don't know if you'll watch this, but his batting wasn't great. His chatting was great, but I mean, his batting wasn't great. I can tell you he was definitely a bowler.
I think you were in next, weren't you? And you might just be him.
I think Monty, we'll get that on camera. Thank you very much.
But he had a sort of Q&A where he was kind of opening conversations, talking about the British Asian community and how certain communities still don't talk that much about mental ill health. And it was interesting to kind of hear his link between sort of elite sport and mental ill health. And he's now got such a great mindset of like at the batting, he just thought he only got a 4, but he was a bit like, it doesn't matter. Do you know what? Like, you have good days, you have bad days, and I think his mentality.
It was
exactly.
Good. And it's
he clearly won't take that home with him. He clearly won't be thinking when on his way home, oh God, or you know, why did that happen? It's just,
Yeah.
he'll sleep easy. And I think that's so important to kind of
Yeah.
see elite sportsmen and actually see that, you know, they also...
such a big part of it as well at that top level.
Yeah.
The mental side of it.
Yeah,
I think
for
with
sure.
all those people watching, all the attention on you, and everyone's quick to pick up on the slightest mistake, pick up on the error. I mean, it's not just in sport, in anything.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that seems to be more days now with socials and everything. Like, everyone's quick to pick up on it in a quick negative or find something.
Yeah.
But
well, I suppose social media's kind of given everyone that voice where you can kind of tweet and feel like you know people when you in fact don't.
yeah.
This series of Flat Whites and Insights is sponsored by SP8 Advisory. They specialise in corporate, employment and personal taxation with over 8 years experience between the Big Four and industry, and they can support both businesses and individuals with their tax affairs. You've just got to visit spa8advisory.co.uk to find out more, and that link will be in the information for this podcast. I know Stuart really well. He's a close friend and he's very, very good at what he does, so I can only recommend the service. Thanks. Now let's get back to Flat Whites and Insights.
And I think that's a big thing. I mean, and it's interesting though, because social media, obviously, I know there's mixed things about it in mental health, but there are real good examples. I mean, for me, I wouldn't say it saved my life, that's quite exaggerated, but it's really changed and given me the confidence to talk about subjects that I felt more comfortable, which is a bit odd to some people when I say this, like I felt more comfortable saying it online, and which is quite public, than even like saying it to friends or saying it to family, because it was not anonymous, because I then put my name to it, but it was a kind of, okay, I could just do it, I don't have to build up to actually speak to someone face to face. I can get it all out, and then once it's out there. And initially I was worried a little bit about what people would say, but then as I say, I have that community online, and you know, I'm not big enough to have people commenting things, you know what I mean? Like, once you reach a certain level, obviously there's more people to try to bring you down, but I just don't care about it. Like, I know if I've meant it, if I've said it, I've meant it, because I do think about it. I wouldn't ever just put something up flippantly. And yeah, like I say, it's those who even you don't know if they've read it, that's really nice. You get that.
Definitely, and you also don't know the impact. So someone kind of, you might not get a message back to say this has helped me, but actually it might have helped someone, or it might have, I don't know, rewired their brain that morning thinking negatively, and actually they've thought, let's think of something, you know, that I'm grateful for today. Or it's just having little social media reminders, I think, can be quite powerful.
And that's why I think it can be healthy. If you follow the right things, if you follow the right pages, it can be really good.
Definitely.
And then highlights, of course. You follow Lucy, you just get holiday snaps.
Yeah, don't follow me. But yeah, we should talk about your Strictly Brackley, because that was such a good fundraiser.
That was good. I did enjoy it. And Jo herself, as Joanne Banham, she's now got her own dance school. She's also been on the pod.
I thought I had a little listen.
Yeah, she's great, and she's known, well, particularly Freya, like my partner. Wife. We were saying this earlier. My partner, they were friends and danced together from quite a young age.
Oh, wow.
So we've known each other for a long time. I think I met Jo when I was like 14.
Wow, yeah, so it goes back a long way.
So when she reached out and she was doing Strictly Brackley, she was leading it. So it's like Strictly Come Dancing. And the chosen charity was Restore, which was amazing.
So did she choose Restore before, or did you kind of speak to her about Restore?
She spoke to me about it a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't want to take too much credit, but yeah, she spoke to me about it and just asked a little bit about them. But it was from her. She didn't kind of reach out and say I'm looking for charities, but I think she was aware of them because of myself. So that was cool. And then when she said that was the charity, I kind of felt like I had to get involved. I mean, definitely not a dancer. I did okay. I think I came 5th.
You did
didn't make the final, but I mean, I did stack it on one of them. But again, a bit like talking about what happened with Monty. I fell over, but I think actually just about managed to get myself back up.
Oh, you were fab.
And that was probably the biggest cheer of the day.
Yeah, it was. And you had all your friends and paddles.
Yeah, I know. Typically I fell over when all my colleagues were there, but yeah, it was the quick step I did as well. So
it was a tough one. I feel like you got one of the hardest.
She gave it, she stitched me up.
Did you on purpose?
I think so, but she was like, "Oh, I'm giving you that because I back you to be able to do it."
Okay.
And I was like, okay, Jo.
Yeah.
We'll get her out on a football pitch at Didcot, and then we'll see. But Yeah, it was brilliant, and I mean, yourself, you were there as well. And
Oh, it was incredible. I can't quite remember how much it raised. It was definitely over 10,000.
it was over 10,000. It was good. It was
the text voting was good fun as well.
Yeah.
That was really
yeah,
good.
the whole thing just had a real good energy to it.
Yeah.
Long day because we did it twice on the same day when we performed. So yeah, it was good, but really good experience. I'm glad I did it. I don't know if I'd do it again because obviously
So we sign you up for next year.
No, don't sign up for next year. But actually the year after, so last year, I did go back to watch because a lot of the pro dancers, so the dancers from the dance school, were still there, and it was nice to see some familiar faces and support. I don't know what charity they were doing it for last year, but it was nice to go back and see that. So yeah, that was something that was good, but again,
and probably massively outside of your comfort zone as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think doing things that are outside of your comfort zone, although terrifying, that's the only way you grow really as a person.
No, 100%. And met people that I would never have met ordinarily.
Yeah.
People from a different circle. I found it was interesting because obviously the videos stopped working, didn't it? On was it the second performance? No, the morning one, maybe the afternoon, because there was obviously a thing about Restore, so I had to step in and say a little bit. That was fine. I was more nervous about the dance than I was doing that. Yeah, talking's fine. Well, I've got a podcast. Talking's fine. But it was nice to be able to speak about it and kind of have that opportunity to say why as well, why I was doing it. So that was nice. So, but I think my dancing days are done.
Okay.
But I did buy dancing shoes for it, so I've still got the dancing shoes.
Okay, so you never know when you're going to get them back out.
Yeah, we'll see. On to the next fundraiser. That is a good point. I do need to think of something because it's a while since I've done an actual kind of fundraiser. Obviously, we've got the coffee with Jericho Coffee Traders, and I think 10% of their sales go to it, and they've been amazing.
Which is brilliant, and it's that kind of ongoing support that's really important as well. So as much as the fundraisers and things sort of ad hoc are great, the continued support means that we can continue kind of helping more people.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of now it kind of, well, it's all for myself, it kind of runs itself now through Jericho. They're amazing. Yeah. And it's nice that they were willing to help out with that as well, because I just kind of dropped a message to a few local roasteries, and after about a year and a half, 2 years of cappuccino, so part of me was, again, this kind of that get out of your comfort zone. I was a bit like, they're going to be like, who's this, just wants his own blend? But actually 2-3 people came back and they were all aware of who I was. And that was nice, even for myself. That gave me that kind of, okay, maybe it is making a difference in the community. And then Jericho were brilliant, and it's been going for must be over 2 years now. We've had that blend, and it's still on the shelves, still selling it.
It's got a great name.
Yeah, self-care blend. It kind of just works.
Yeah, so it lends itself, doesn't it?
But no, I'm not going to commit. I will do another fundraiser, but I'm not going to say what on camera because I'm wearing anytime. This is why you're here, I see. So you've got evidence.
No, I'm kidding.
Here to get evidence, but yeah, definitely keen to do something again, and I'm getting more heavily involved with Didcot Town. So look to pick that up again and do more in that space.
You've facilitated lots of partnerships for us, whether it's kind of Didcot, Jericho Coffee Traders, various other things, the dancing. You've done very well. At least annually, there's been something which is brilliant. So
no, it's good, and I like that though because it's for me, it's a connections and knowing the team there and wanting to do it and that kind of make that difference. It's nice. So it's good. But then about yourself, so in terms of getting out of comfort zone, you recently became a manager for the first time.
Yes.
So how's that all kind of been for yourself?
Yes, and,
next step of it almost being first job at Indian, now you've been there a long time, and so starting to progress there as well, which is really cool for yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So I got a sort of promotion about a year ago, but I was kind of more managing volunteers, which is quite different to kind of a member of staff, as you probably experienced. But it's been good, definitely a learning curve, and it's been, like I was saying, it's been such a busy time. We've had kind of the Oxfordshire Half Marathon, chatting about with Monty, Christmas, various other things. So it's been a little bit of a juggling act. But it's great to have that more support and kind of, I think you learn about yourself a little bit as well when you're managing someone, like what your style is and how you can quickly improve to kind of adapt to other people. No, definitely. I've been trying to, this is outside my comfort zone. It's something I would never normally do, I must admit. And as well, it was the AGM just last week, and I've never sort of stood up and presented in front of kind of 50 odd people. So I'm trying to do bits and bobs outside my comfort zone, just because I just think it's so important to kind of do these things. And
I think it's like with the AGM and stuff as well. And I think for Restore, I think definitely, obviously, I say, big obviously asset to Restore. You've been there a long time. You kind of started as a volunteer, which is a nice story as well. That you volunteered and then you've been there, you worked your way through, and then like promotion. So you probably know a lot and have seen a lot in that time, and there is like a lot of knowledge in there. So maybe like with that management, as you say, you'll maybe realise how much you do know about the organisation, or realise what skills you have picked up.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is not always an easy thing to do, to step back and reflect. And
I think sometimes life's like go, and you don't always have that moment to kind of reflect.
Yeah, definitely. There's a part of you that probably still thinks, because this is like your first workplace, and you think, oh, I'm just out of... But then actually you're like, well, no, actually I've got a bit of experience under my belt now.
No, that's true. It's quite easy to feel like you're sort of still a newbie, and then you're like, hold on, I'm not at all. But no, I know what you mean.
So no, that's exciting. And every time I've been at like events or tried to do something, I know you've been like great help for myself as well.
Oh, that's kind.
Which is nice, yeah, and long way to continue.
Yeah, exactly,
store, so,
definitely.
So
and you're starting your new job in January.
So
you're going to try and do some mental health policies and various things.
Yeah, well, going in
still
office manager, so we'll see. Between like the store and Jericho there, but everyone will be drinking coffee.
Yeah.
And, but no, on a serious note, I think it's something that's important to me. It's a role which probably, there is the elements of the managing the actual physical office, but for me, I really like the fact that it's a chance to kind of impact and influence the workplace and the culture.
Definitely.
And have a chance to, there's quite a few new people starting as well. I'll meet some of them shortly. They're going to like the Christmas do. So it'll be a nice chance to meet people outside the office as well, which is nice, because you kind of meet them in a more relaxed environment. You don't have to kind of say hi while they're in the middle of something, and then you kind of...
Do you have a minute?
Exactly.
Kind of
so, because I often find that, so, I mean, I've had it, and I try always, if someone new joins, you always want to give them that time, but you can't help if you're in the middle of a call or you're in the middle of a bit of stress. So it'll be nice that everyone will hopefully be quite relaxed. And
definitely.
Meet them, and then a chance to kind of get going in the new year. Alongside, obviously, keeping up my football through Didcot, and then I'm sure there'll be plenty more podcasts and stuff coming as well. So busy.
Brilliant.
I'm always busy, but it's good stuff. Like I've said in previous episodes, and it's something that I think like Final Cappuccino, like it is busy, but it's stuff that gives me energy. And like if I'm doing something that gives me energy,
but like fills your own cup, doesn't it? When you do things.
Things like this. This is a way of kind of recharging and makes you feel good, and and as I say, because there's no financial tie to it. If it was getting too much, then I can stop it. There's no pressure on me to do it. And if ever it started to feel like a job, then I can. And I think, especially with the nature of it being about self-care and mental health, I think if anyone was to find out actually it was stressing me out because of doing it, then that's, it makes no sense. What would I say to someone else if someone else was putting themselves out for it? So it's quite nice knowing I have total control over it. And so sometimes it goes a bit quieter. I used to put a lot of pressure on myself. Of like, I need to put this much out, I need to do this much content, I need to grow and everything. And now I've got a steady number of followers, but it's kind of stayed steady. So people aren't going away, which is nice.
That is good.
New people are arriving. As with each podcast, some people who know them or follow them like get involved, and so.
And I think when it's your own kind of baby almost, you feel like you need to be putting stuff out every week or every 2 weeks, but actually, when you're on social media, do you notice if everyone's doing it once a week or every 2 weeks? You don't notice. You kind of say, oh, that's a nice post, or you click onto it if you're interested. But you're not noticing when other people post.
So
and
true.
Probably people aren't noticing when you post.
No, I know. That's the thing. Who would I be? I'd be so like ego of me to be like, oh, someone's waiting for my next post. Like they're really not.
They're not,
really
but
not.
they'll be excited when you bring it out. So it's a case of, when you're ready.
It's a really good point. Like, no one's going to... I've never had someone say, oh, you've gone a bit quiet, or you've gone a...
No.
And people put that pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, I think it's quite easy.
With a lot of things. Even like plans and social things, like it's Christmas time at the moment, like everyone's going to be like, I've got to see these people, do that, do this, and sometimes,
Or sometimes you're just not up to it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I love that. There you go. Take home. But before we kind of wrap up, a question that I do ask everyone. So I've given you notice on it. Now I'm calling you out.
Oh gosh.
So I'm expecting a perfect answer. No.
I should have revised.
But no. So a question I ask everyone is, what does happiness mean to you? So I'm going to ask yourself that as well.
Okay. So what do I think happiness means to me? I was kind of thinking about it in the car journey over as to what happiness means to me. And I think it's a feeling of like being content, but being content with the kind of highs of life, but also the lows, because life isn't steady all the time. And like with our mental health, it's always on a continuum of kind of feeling better or worse certain days. And I think it's kind of knowing that you can ride out the lows and you've done it before, so therefore you can do it again. I think that's part of being happy, having that kind of resilience, but also it's the connections around you and having that kind of support network. And I'm definitely, there's that theory of like people have that kind of inner circle of like 5 friends or 5 close people, and I definitely relate to that. I'm not someone with this huge network, but actually that works harder for me, having 5 people that I know that I could trust or go to. And I think that's what makes you happy, rather than filling yourself, sort of being surrounded in a room full of people, actually just knowing you've got people you can kind of rely on.
So I love that, and that's really, really important. And I think we probably, well, I'm a little bit older than yourself, but we've both grown up in kind of the social media era, where I remember Facebook was massive when it wasn't just Nans, when I like, sorry to anyone listening who's on Facebook, but anyway, but like
it's changed slightly, hasn't it?
It's changed, like when I remember it coming out while I was at secondary school, and so it was who's got the most friends, and you were trying to get friend requests and stuff, but and as I say, as I've got older, or as you're talking about that close circle, you'd rather be in a room full of 4 people that you can be authentic with, you can open up with, you can be honest, than a room full of 20 people. Actually, how many of them would take time to call you and check in with you if you're not meeting up? How many people can you genuinely kind of call friends?
Well,
beyond the social media, friends has taken on this whole new meaning because of social media. And so I think it's really interesting, like say, having that close circle, people you trust, people that will also call you out maybe sometimes. Like I like that.
I agree.
People that are going to call me out or pick out who know me sometimes better than I know myself.
Or just ask you, are you okay? And then suddenly you're like, wait, am I okay?
Because why have they asked me? Like, even if they're just asking.
And it's actually thinking, God, have they noticed something or have they noticed that I'm not quite myself? And then sometimes people see things almost before you do, or I don't know. It's definitely having those people that you can be raw and honest to, and they'll have your back, but equally they'll call you out. And I just think it's so much lonelier just having acquaintances. And you might have 2,000 followers, 5,000 followers, whatever, but ultimately we all need those people, like you said, that you can actually pick up the phone to, or who are there. I
think it's so much more important to have people that won't just be with you to celebrate the wins, they're there to pick you up and carry you through like the lows as well. And I think that's how to me, that's what I define it. If I would say my close circle. And again, it's funny because of the nature of having this platform, the podcast and social media and football, I probably would say I'm maybe different in that people might look at me and say, oh, people say I'm well connected, and it sounds odd to say that about myself, but I am, I'm well connected, and particularly in the local area in Oxfordshire.
Definitely.
But
I think we'd say that with Restore as well, that you're well connected.
With
lots of different parts.
Well, exactly, and that's nice, but again, for me, that's all come from me opening up and being vulnerable. And being myself. And a lot of it, to be honest, in Oxfordshire has come from Cappuccino page. But what's he say? But in terms of, there's a lot, as much as I say I'm open and honest, and I appreciate it. And it's nice to hear you say, I feel like you're quite open on social media, which I am. There's, being vulnerable and having, there's still important to have boundaries. There's still things that I won't necessarily want everyone to know. And so having, I've probably got 3 or 4 close friends, and they'll know who they are, who I can kind of be honest with. So it's important, and they mean more to me than any follower on social media or anything. So,
definitely.
As you say, and then having that close circle means that you then probably feel content with the highs and the lows, as you say.
Exactly, well, you can ride them out much easier because you've got that support network. And I think what's quite great about Restore is so not everyone does have that support network. And actually Restore can be that for you, because it's such a community of people with sort of therapeutic groups and all that kind of stuff, that you can kind of join this group and be a part of something, whether you're kind of making a mosaic together or you're digging in the garden or that kind of thing. You do become a part of something.
And that's so important. Everyone wants to be a part of something, and often people are at the lowest when they do feel isolated, like I spoke about earlier, like when you don't feel like you belong or don't feel like a part of something, that's often when people do start to feel at their lowest. So we finished up with Restore as well, which is a nice little mention. But as I say, first, fair play for all the stuff you've done for them as well. I know, knowing you, probably wouldn't like to be someone who likes to brag or talk openly about it. And obviously, that's the nature of people who work there as well. You're not doing it for that reason. You're doing it for the why the charity is there.
Yeah,
But it's
definitely.
it's great to see it still happening, and also it's been lovely to kind of get to know you a bit better as a person as well, outside of just contacting you for
definitely.
banners and contacting you for support for events. It's been nice, and thanks for coming on this, because I know, as you mentioned, like this wasn't necessarily in your comfort zone.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, so
But I'm glad I did it, and I think you always feel glad after these sorts of things. So.
yeah, definitely, yeah. And then you just have to watch it back and see if you still feel bad. A few words was made up there. No, but it's it's been a great conversation, and I think it'd be really nice for people to know a bit more about the inside of a store and just yourself as well.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Good.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this latest episode of Flat Whites and Insights, and I really hope you gained something from that conversation, because I know I certainly did. It would mean a lot if you can like or subscribe on whatever platform you may be watching or listening on, and please do share this podcast with any friends or family or anyone you know that you think might benefit from having a listen. Also, if you can head over to Instagram and give Cappuccino a follow, that's where you'll find the latest updates as we look to raise awareness of mental health through my passions for football and coffee. And I'm always open to people getting in touch if you want to have a conversation, collaborate, or even come on the podcast yourself. The support means a lot, and I'm very grateful. Thanks so much again, and I hope to see you soon.